Some of us are called to make McDonald's music. I know it sounds dumb, but if we even equate this to the gospel, and this is just music, but think about if we equate this to the gospel. Some people are called to reach the masses. Certain preachers can stand up in a pulpit and can relate to a whole broad sense of people. Okay? They have a gifting. Whereas some people are very specific about their calling. They can only reach a small group. They're into theology and eschatology and all the ologies that you can imagine. Okay? But did you notice a lot of times people that are into like the really deep spiritual aspects tend to look down on the people that reach the masses? You ever notice that? Sort of that snobbery aspect? And that's where we can get wrong, because sometimes we think we got it all figured out ministry-wise. You know what I mean? And you may be called to reach the caviar peoples. You may be called to reach the McDonald's peoples. One's not better than the other. It comes down to what are you doing with your calling. You know what I mean? I don't know if these McDonald's burgers are any good or not. Judging by the employees, I would be a little scared to eat them. However, I can walk into a McDonald's and go, this is a good McDonald's. It's clean, you know, it's done well. There's good pop music out there. There's good, you know, commercial rap music out there. And there's terrible underground music too.
What about the people that not necessarily underground, but not necessarily like they're more like underground, but they've at the same time they reach a certain level of success where they're not necessarily underground, but they're not totally commercial because they're still got that.
Well, that kind of brings me to my last and final point.
Like The Roots or Talib or something like that.
I picked the two extremes here. I picked them, when I thought of junk food, all I could think of was McDonald's cheeseburgers. That's all I could think of. That's the extreme. And when I think gourmet food, I think caviar. But realistically, where do most people really eat? They eat somewhere in between, okay? If you really want to reach somebody with the gospel, it's not about being so mass appeal that there's no meat in what you're saying. And it's not about being so weighty that you lose the masses. True people that really know how to reach people know how to find the middle ground. You see what I'm saying? Jesus knew how to get deep, and Jesus knew how to break it down to the masses and feed 5,000 people with some loaves and some fish. I guarantee you he'd probably be, if it was modern day, it'd be probably a Coke and a cheeseburger.
And a fry.
Maybe a fry. That was my song.
The Mountain Dew.
But see, this is the last thing I want to say, is that where we miss out sometimes is we are the caviar. We have something deep to say, but we don't know how to package it correctly. If I was going to say to you, hey man, I got some caviar to give you, and I give it to you like
what
this.
was in there?
Yeah.
Wow.
This was originally my first illustration. My leftover pizza from Carrabba's last night. However, I got hungry on the way to the 5-2 Academy and I ate it, so I had to buy the caviar. But
wow.
Anyway, it's besides the point. The packaging aspect. Actually, you just brought up another illustration. Sometimes our packaging stinks so badly it chases everybody off from our caviar. Some of you rappers out there, you are caviar, but you stink. All jokes aside, but that's, if I was to hand you a wonderfully expensive product in a box like this, you're not going to take me seriously. And some of us have a wonderfully expensive product, our music, our ministry, but we don't know how to package it correctly. We lose out on the packaging, meaning we go, let me pour all my time into making my caviar, and let me just go, I'm just going to throw any old type of packaging on it. You know, if a guy walks up to me and hands me a CD and says, here, check out my demo, and it's all shoddy looking and like scribble with a, this is not offending to anybody that's done this, but if you hand me a burnt CD with a scribbled out Sharpie and I can't read your name or your address or your email, and I'm looking at your appearance and you're just kind of looking down like at me like this, like, here, take my rap. Your packaging is telling me that what you have to give me is not that important. Okay? To really sell a product, you have to do the whole deal. From the packaging, to the product, to the selling of it. Your music that you do is a marketable aspect. You can be a dope MC, but if your packaging looks terrible, nobody's going to want to get to your dope MC-ness. And vice versa, for as crappy as these burgers are, they're packaged well. See, that's the other aspect we forget, is that we can have a bad product in a great package. Okay? That's the key. That's really what it comes down to you. So, with that in mind, don't put your caviar in old Carrabba boxes full of old pizza. Great point. Hey, we're back. Great point. The point he had made was, he had asked me, where do I find myself? And the reason why I've been able to find success on a really big level is the fact that my records contain both. And really the most successful records, the most successful albums, most successful MCs do not put their stuff in Carrabba boxes. Ignore the Carrabba box. Within an album, you have to have weightiness, substance, things that change people's lives, but you got to have some fun. If you have too much of this, people go, yeah, caviar is cool, but I can't eat a whole meal of it. And other people go, yeah, cheeseburgers are great, but dang, after 6 of them, I feel sick. The key to a successful record is to have this, this, and everything that goes in between. Because some people are going to go, man, I didn't even know there was caviar there. I just like cheeseburgers. Okay? They're going to be brought in by your cheeseburger. This sounds really dumb. People are going to be brought in by your cheeseburger and find out that there's something with substance there that I have to say. You see what I'm saying? So that's really where you make a successful record. That's where you make a successful ministry. You know what I mean? When it comes down to ministry. You got to have some fun things in your ministry, or things that draw people, the masses in, to get them to this point. That's the most successful ministers out there, is the ones that know how to balance the two. Now obviously some people lean too far here and they lean too far to the other side. The best ones know how to balance the two. And that takes sometimes years to figure out. I'm still trying to figure that out.